This is something you do for a billion years or not at all.
And welcome to the My Dream Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we're talking about uh Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, a great actor, the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman. We each picked a cool movie that he's in. He's has a lot of small supporting roles that he's great in, but these are both pretty big leading roles. I picked The Master, PTA's 2012 movie with him and Joaquin Phoenix and Amy Adams and some other people. Uh, Not to hand wave the other people; they're also very good. But and Ryan picked the his only directorial effort, Jack Goes
Yeah.
Boating, which is stars him, directed by him. And yeah, we're going to talk about both of those. We're going to get into full spoilers for both movies. Uh, the name of the episode, obviously, because we're very mature, is Jack Goes Master Boating. But we're going to start with the Master because I assume so many more people have seen the Master than Jack Goes Boating. But I mean, just off the top, they're both really good. And if you haven't seen them, I'd say go check them out and then come back.
Yeah, and chances are you probably haven't seen Jack Goes Boating because I would say it's pretty underseen from what it looks like. So,
Yeah, I didn't even know it existed until this episode.
yeah, me neither. And I think it was definitely worth the watch. The Master is something else obviously, but Jack Goes Boating I think is even if you've seen The Master and you're here just to check out the episode, hear us talk about The Master, go check out Jack Goes Boating too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, before we get into the full spoiler discussion of the two main movies, we're going to do a couple recent recs, some things that we've seen recently that we're going to just talk about in general without spoilers to recommend. Ryan, do you want to kick it off?
Sure. Before I even kick it off, I'm just gonna say we did both get to see the Odyssey recently, which
Yeah. Go check out our last episode. We talked about the Odyssey. We gushed over it. We loved it. It was pretty awesome. Have you seen it a second time yet, or just the one time still? Yeah.
no, I wanted to see it a second time, and I'm still hoping I'll get to it this week to go see it in just 70 millimeter, not IMAX this time. Um, but but I haven't yet, so it's still on my list this week. Hopefully it'll work.
Nice. That'll be fun. I would like to watch it a second time as well. But yeah, you can listen to our most recent episode and hear all our thoughts about the Odyssey. But in short, it was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, go check out I mean, chances are actually, considering it broke 1 million views on Letterboxd in like 2 or 3 days or something ridiculous, chances are you might have already seen it. But if you haven't,
Yeah, and
go see it.
it is hard to get tickets. The IMAX, they're all sold out and stuff, so it can be tough, but it's definitely worth seeing.
But something else I've seen recently that we haven't done a full episode on the show yet is The Invite. This is
Oh,
the
nice.
new Olivia Wilde movie. It stars obviously Olivia Wilde, but also Seth Rogen, Edward Norton, and Penelope Cruz. But it's hilarious. This is it's a blast. They get essentially their upstairs, downstairs neighbors in an apartment building, and Olivia Wilde invites the other couple down to the apartment for dinner without telling Seth Rogen, and he doesn't really want that to happen. So there's a lot of tension, a lot of conflict, and the whole dinner party is absolutely bonkers. It's definitely worth watching. It's a blast. It's hilarious. I imagine with the Odyssey now taking over theaters, this might be a little bit harder to see in theaters right now, but I think it's worth, once it's out streaming, I definitely recommend people to give it a check. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I did not see that one. I'm probably not going to see it in theaters, to be honest, just because I've got a couple other things I'm seeing. I'm looking forward to. But one thing I did see. Well, when we're recording this tomorrow, I'll be seeing the end of Evangelion in theaters. They're doing one day only. I've got my tickets. I'm ready to go. But by the time people are listening to this, it will be at least the day before, or who knows? People could be listening to this 20 years in the future, who knows? But but so I watched the show Neon Genesis Evangelion for the first time. Like I think it was beginning of this year, end of last year, whatever, pretty recently. But I watched something called Evangelion colon death open parenthesis true close parenthesis to the second power. What does that mean? I don't fully know. But what is it? It's basically a 69-minute, nice, re-edit of the entire show leading up to the end of Evangelion. So basically, the last two episodes of the show, they kind of like didn't get to do them the way they wanted to, so they redid the ending as the end of Evangelion. So this is like 24 episodes, which is like a lot of TV show, and it's all jam-packed into like barely over an hour. And I will say I would not recommend watching this without having watched the show. I don't think it's like a substitute for watching the show. But it's pretty cool, like the way it's kind of a cool like excuse for some experimental editing and like different it shifts things around in the narrative a little bit and like it's cool to watch if you've already seen the show. And I think it was worth watching as a little recap, reminder before I go see End of Evangelion tomorrow. So that is something that I think is worth watching if you've seen the show.
Nice. You got to repeat that name for me though.
All right. Evangelion, death, open parentheses, true, close parentheses to the second power. I believe there's like a first
Oh,
Evangelion death. There's an Evangelion rebirth. There's all this stuff. And then not to mention there are these other movies that are the like Evangelion 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 3.0 plus one that are like basically a three movie trilogy remake of the show plus another episode or another like movie afterwards. And I haven't seen those, but it's sometimes with the anime the and there's like they do this with the Ghost in the Shell and there's these titles are all weird and I'm like, how am I supposed to keep track of what this stuff is? But yeah, that's what it is. Evangelion Death True 2.
wow. That's cool. That an insane name, but sounds like a cool idea. I guess it sounds more like a last time on type of thing. You're watching
I
like an
mean,
hour, like, hey, before you watch the movie, here's what you need to remember, maybe.
kind of, yeah. Like yeah, kind of. But it's
Cool.
yeah, in a way. But it's a
Yeah.
little it's not super straightforward like that. Like the show is also not very straightforward. It's kind of like weird and especially toward the end it gets really weird and you're kind of like what exactly is happening? What is reality? What's going on? So there's elements of that where it's not just a straightforward recap. But anyway, pretty cool thing.
Nice.
But yeah, also, I'm looking forward to Her Private Hell. Comes out this weekend, new Nicholas Winding Refn movie, getting not great reviews, but also mixed reviews, but also it's Nicholas Winding Refn. I love Only God Forgives, and that people didn't like that when it came out. So it's his first movie in like 10 years. So I'm seeing End of Evangelion. I'll probably be seeing that. So probably won't end up seeing The Invite in theaters. This is my
Yeah.
long story
That makes
short.
sense. Well, I did see I saw the AMC next door has her own private hell, and I remember you talking about that back on our like top five. It might have been one of your honorable mentions for our top five most excited, most anticipated movies
Hmm.
coming soon. And so I'm like, I might go see that this weekend too. That could be cool.
Nice.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
and yeah, you got the AMC A list, so you
Yeah,
go see several things a week, easy peasy. But yeah, that one I think when we did the episode, like it might not have had a release date. Um,
right.
but yeah.
Well, speaking of being able to go see whatever I want to at the AMC, uh, I did go and see Backrooms colon Everything Must Go edition. There you go. I did a colon one there.
What the
Um,
heck? These titles.
and uh, this was interesting. I thought this was going to be like a director's cut because I knew there was like 16 minutes of additional footage. So I thought that meant it was going to be like a director's cut where they, added some extended scenes or whatever. Um, it's not like that. At this point, I doubt people will be able to go. Actually, no, the AMC I think still has some showings over the next 2 weeks, surprisingly. But fair warning, it's not a director's cut. So if you were mistaken like me, what this has is after the credits, you get about a 16-minute kind of found footage style additional thing. And it kind of seems like it might be supposed to represent a sort of prologue, maybe. Like it's possible that the found footage thing at the very beginning of the movie kind of maybe comes right after this. I'm not really sure, but that was my guess. But so it was kind of cool to watch, but uh I was a little disappointed just because I did think that it was going to be a like a director's cut. I mean, it's still cool to see. It's essentially like Blu-ray special features in theaters, which is cool. Um, but I would say it's probably if you liked the movie, for me, every time I've seen this, it's gotten better and better for me. I've liked it more and more. I found more intrigue and weird things going on. For example, it's always 9:30 in Mary's uh therapy office. Her clock always reads 9:30, which is a weird time for it to read considering it's bright outside. And he says that he's just getting there from after work or something. So there's all sorts of weird stuff that I'm picking up on. This is now my third time seeing it. And so, anyways, I think it's probably worth seeing if you're really into it. Uh, but just know what you're getting into, I guess, because that did lead to a
Yeah.
little disappointment for me.
Yeah, yeah. Seems like it's for the super fans, the little extra thing. But
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Um yeah, I have one other movie to mention called Antonio Gaudi. It is a documentary directed by Hiroshi Teshigahara, and it's about the Catalan architect Antoni Gaudi, and it's pretty cool. It's on the Criterion channel if anyone has it, and it's all basically there's like three lines of well, not even dialogue, but it's like interview footage. There's like three or four sentences spoken, and most of it, the vast majority, is just images of his designs. And in it's from 1984, so in the 80s, at that time period, all these buildings that he built. And the thing he's most known for is the Sagrada Familia, which is there's been so much more progress made like since the 80s, but it's kind of cool to see it in such a, you know, an earlier stage. But it's basically a gigantic cathedral that was started being built in the late 1800s. I forget the exact date, and still technically is not finished to this day. They're still building it. And it's like absolutely gigantic, and it's pretty cool. So it's if you are interested in architecture or just like documentaries or even just vibes, if you like backrooms vibes and you just want to see some cool architecture and maybe like just kind of vibe out for like 72 minutes, then this is like a pretty cool documentary to watch, I think. It didn't blow my mind or anything, but I mean, some of the architecture actually is kind of mind blowing. It's pretty incredible that like the unique and like strange, a lot of like just unique design that you would never see, anywhere else, basically. Just on even just like apartment buildings, or it's like, oh, it's just people live in this building, but it's got all this crazy design on it and everything. So yeah, I didn't really know about this guy much before, and I guess I didn't learn that many facts about him, but I learned a lot about his style and his art and everything, and I think it's worth checking out.
That sounds pretty cool. A good way, I think, to do a documentary like that. I would say, not having seen it, but
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely just a different approach to it. Like you're not going to leave with a ton of information about it, but you can look at the guy's Wikipedia and probably read biographies about him. And this is kind of a different approach of kind of just more experiencing the architecture and stuff.
yeah. Cool. Well, the last thing I've got is not something I saw in theaters. So yeah, I'm lucky enough to be able to see a lot of things in theaters, but sometimes I still hang back and watch something at home. And this time I rewatched Poltergeist, and it's been a long time since I'd seen this is the original Poltergeist from 1982 by Hooper, but also kind of by Steven Spielberg, maybe. So Spielberg was like the executive producer and stuff, and I think there's some debate about how much he actually, you know,
Directed,
directed it.
ghost directed, and
Yeah,
yeah.
Poltergeist directed you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, but it's pretty awesome. And one thing that I was delighted by this time around, it's been so long, I forgot how funny the movie is. And it really does have, I just remember it being scary because I saw it, it's been a long time. But it's got a lot of good humor and satire and stuff in it. And today, it's also a little campy, and so much of it is kind of ingrained in the paranormal tropes that we watch all the time. So, if anyone hasn't seen it, I think you'll get a lot out of watching it to see where a lot of these, where where it comes from, all that stuff. And if you've seen it, but it's been a while, it could be cool to revisit it and think more about kind of some of uh, the comedy that's in there.
Interesting. I have never seen The Poltergeist.
What?
Never seen it. Never.
Oh, Shane, I hope that we pull something good at the end of this episode because I might pick it.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, this is I don't know. It's just one of those ones that's passed me by. I never saw it as a kid, and I still haven't seen it.
It's a 5 star for me. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. It is like, it's it's one that I saw when I was not super young, but younger, and it definitely influenced, kind of the media that I ended up growing up to like. And so I think
Nice.
it's awesome though. It's really great.
Yeah, I know some images of it, the girl with the TV, and there's stuff floating around and stuff at some points. There's stuff. There's Native American burial ground involved. That's pretty much all I know. And the Toby Hooper, Steven Spielberg rumored drama, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, never actually seen it.
Wow, cool. All right. Well, then that's going on my list of things to try to squeeze into the show.
There you go. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a good time for it. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do a Halloween episode or something.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't have any other movies to recommend, but I have two movie related things to recommend. One, I think last episode I mentioned that I rewatched Heat, and I was like,
Yes.
yeah, Heat, this is pretty amazing. Well, I've started reading Heat 2, the book, the novel written by Michael Mann and co-written by I believe the co-writer's name is Megan Gardner. That might be wrong. Sorry if I don't have it in front of me. But pretty good, pretty graphic, not for children. This would be an R-rated book if books had a rating system. Really good actually. Like, and I can kind of visualize it as a movie, obviously. And it helps that there are characters that Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, there are recurring characters, but basically it picks up right where the movie left off, basically, and then we jump back in time. I believe at some point we're going to jump forward, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. I've only just started. So, but so far, I really like it. So, Heat 2,
Nice.
there you go. That's a
Cool.
yes, movie related, so I figured I'd mention it. And I have one other movie if you want to finish it off with an actual movie or if you're done.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll throw in a not movie related thing too, which
Okay.
is House of Leaves, which is a monster of a book that I think I mentioned really briefly last episode, but I've been reading it for a while now. It's a monster. I'm not done with it yet, but it's about a guy that finds an impossible hallway in his house, and it goes on forever and ever, and there's long winding stairwells and things that, and so he hires some people to help explore it and the consequences of that and all this. And this is from I want to say like in the between 2010 and 2015 maybe, and it feels like a huge influence on Backrooms. So if you guys liked Backrooms, this is a really experimental book. There's some pages where the text is literally mirrored, so I warn you, it's not maybe for everyone, but do a little bit of looking up. You might enjoy this book if you really liked Backrooms.
There you go. Cool. House of Leaves. Never read it either. Well, maybe Halloween episode we'll do Mind Your Books, and then no, that'd be crazy. I read too slow for that. Um, the other movie related thing I would recommend. I've just been listening to the Tenet soundtrack. It's so sick. I recommend if you're driving in a car at night, you throw on the Tenet soundtrack. Throw on like Freeport, and you got I don't know. I'm not going to try to imitate the music like and sound like an idiot, but it's awesome. You're driving, you're working, you can throw it on in the background. Tenet soundtrack, Ludwig Göransson, incredible, and like it's so good in the movie. And then if you just listen to the soundtrack, you don't have to worry about the time travel and trying to figure out what's going on and where's this, what's the timelines. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just listen to the music and enjoy.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, don't watch the movie while you're driving at night.
Yeah, don't
Um,
recommend that. Do not recommend that. If maybe if you're on a train, watch the
yeah.
movie.
Well,
But
yeah. Yeah. Um, but that's cool. Do you think Ludwig Göransson might get a fourth Oscar with The Odyssey?
I don't know because has he won three in a row or is it just three total?
Well, he got
Because he won
uh
for Sinners and didn't he win the year before too?
yes for uh
Was it for
it's blanking on me.
did he do the Oppenheimer soundtrack
He
or
did.
was
Yes. Yes, you're
or the
right.
score? But yeah, I don't
He
know. I think his
yeah.
I think his first win might have been did he win for Black Panther?
He did. Yes.
There we go.
So there you go.
So he's but he's
So
won
he's got
two,
three.
but he's won two in a row. I'm like, are they gonna give him three in a row? But it is pretty awesome.
I know it. Yeah, it does feel like three in a row is kind of rough. Not rough, but like rough for everyone else.
Yeah, people sometimes people don't want to give you three. Like Nikola Jokic probably should have won three MVPs in a row, and they were like, nah, not gonna. I don't even think Michael Jordan won three MVPs in a row. They were like, let's just give this to like Charles Barkley or Karl Malone, just because we don't want to give you three in a row. It's like, what are we doing here? But also like the Dune 3 score might be awesome. So
Yeah, yeah. There could be a lot of competition on this next Oscars. I'm excited for our next Oscars prediction episode already, and we're in. It's July.
yeah, yeah, will be fun.
Anyways,
But yeah,
cool.
Tenet, that should have won. Because Tenet also came out 2020. So whatever won that, there was like no movies that came out that year.
Yeah, yeah. I'd have to go. I don't even know what did win. I don't know,
I
but
have no idea. I don't remember the
yeah,
2020 Oscar for best original
Em-
score.
embarrassing. A true good movie podcast host would know it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like the Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste won for Soul, the Pixar movie.
Oh,
So that's actually pretty good.
cool.
So that's a pretty legit win, I guess. But anyway, cool.
Anyways, well, that was awesome. Lots of stuff to recommend today. That's our little recent Rex section. So hopefully you guys can enjoy some of
Yeah.
those things. But it's
Yes.
time, I think, to jump into some Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it. We'll talk about the Master.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, I got a lot of notes on this movie. Um.
Yeah,
So yeah.
me too.
All right. I'm so yeah, The Master. This is PTA, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson from 2012. Stars Philip Seymour Hoffman as Lawrence Dodd, the creator of this cult that's called The Cause. He Joaquin Phoenix's character is the main character, Freddie Quell, and he's a you know traumatized World War II veteran who has a lot of impulse control issues, I guess we'll say it for now. And yeah, he gets kind of roped into this, and it's about their relationship and pretty incredible movie. I love this movie. This is my third time seeing it. It makes a lot more sense the third time around than the first time around to me. But Ryan, I'm curious what you thought of it because I think this was your first time seeing
This was my first time. And I'm glad that it makes more sense the third time.
it.
This is definitely a movie that I left with, thought a lot about, I'm still thinking a lot about, and don't quite know what to make of parts of it, or certainly the ending and stuff. There's a lot of interesting stuff in this movie that I really, really loved. Um, and I think I was really close to just being like, this was really cool, and I really don't understand it at all, but I tried to like dig a little bit into what people understand from the movie, and I like some different interpretations, and I'm still very confused, so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. I feel like the first time I saw it, I was kind of in a similar place of like, okay, that was clearly good, but I don't really know what that
Mhm.
was. Um, And I think part of that is that the movie doesn't really follow like a traditional structure. It's very loose and uh I don't know, we you don't really know where it's going. Like the it's very character driven and not the the structure of the movie is pretty loose. Um but on the second time I saw it, that's when I really loved it and I still pretty much felt the same way this third time around. But yeah, this is definitely it's just a weird movie.
It is a weird movie, that's for sure. There's some scenes that are just really weird, and you're like, what is happening? And then there's some
Yeah.
scenes also that are, I don't know, that just like really mystified me.
Hmm.
So uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool. We can get into it. We're gonna
let's do
talk
it.
all about it. I also just I think the music and the cinematography in this movie are like absolutely incredible. The shots of the ocean, every shot, and the production design by Jack Fisk and the costume design, everything like is really top notch. And the performances as well. With this being a Philip Seymour Hoffman episode, everyone's giving like incredible performances.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And one interesting thing about the episode here is between this and Jack Goes Boating, Philip Seymour Hoffman plays two incredibly different roles between these two movies, and both of them, his performance is like a big highlight of the movie, which I think
Yeah.
goes to show obviously the depth and breadth of things that he was able to do.
Yeah, he had so much range and he was always like really believable. Even if you think about Punch Drunk Love versus like The Big Lebowski in like those small roles, just those characters being so different. And yeah, these two characters as well, they're very different. But I feel like he's 100% believable in both movies.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the movie starts. I just
Hmm.
want to say, thinking of weird scenes. Um, it starts. I mean, there's a little bit of a scene of like pretty much just he's at war. Here's his helmet and stuff, and then we're on a
Starts with a shot of the
beach
ocean.
with
First
an
shot.
ocean. Oh,
First
I
shot
forgot about the
is
ocean.
very first shot is the ocean behind the boat. And we kind of
Gotcha.
end with I think we end maybe on the same shot. It
But
recurs.
there's this. See, that's a cool thing. I wish I caught. I didn't catch on to that this time around. But anyways, um, but then we're on the beach, and Freddie Quell just fucks a sand person.
Well, a sand sculpture of a person, not an actual sand person.
Well, yeah,
Not a yeah. Yes, yeah, he does. He's got this guy's got issues. Right away, I will say also it doesn't end on that shot. I think it recurs a couple times throughout the movie and maybe toward the end, but the very last shot is him laying next to the sand woman from the beginning of the movie.
yes.
Um, just I have that written down, so I just wanted to correct that while we're here. But
Which
yeah, right
also comes up
away,
a bit. You also see the Sand Woman quite a few times during the
yes,
movie.
yeah, and yeah, this guy's just a wild man. He's drinking. Well, he's drinking alcohol and he's drinking who knows what. He's drink at different points in the movie. He drinks Lysol. He drinks paint thinner. He basically like makes these concoctions of potions of poison to drink. And yeah, he's at one point he does go master boating, as the titular episode's title says. He jerks off, we see from a distance. And yeah, this guy's just completely insane, like all impulse, all
Yeah.
emotion, and just nothing is thought out. He just does whatever his like id, you know, drives him to do.
Yeah. There's one point also really early on. He's back on some ship, and he's like they're draining something from a torpedo or something. I don't really know, but they're
Yeah.
draining something. And he's just draining it, and he just puts his mouth under it and drinks a little bit. And he kind of like he's like you can tell from his face that was not a very good drink, you know? Um,
Yeah.
but he just
Yeah.
does it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say also in this, like on the Blu-ray, there's a a film directed by John Huston called oh gosh, well now I'm forgetting the name of it, but it was a technically it was commissioned as a propaganda film by the US government in World War II about soldiers coming back home, but the PTSD basically shown, and how all the soldiers were so messed up from the war and psychologically damaged was so bad that the government was like, "Oh, we just don't release this." Um, Let me just see if I can just find the title of it real quick. Oh, Let There Be Light. It's 58 minutes long. It's on Criterion, it's on Canopy, and it's on the Blu-ray of the Master, or at least the one that I have. I don't know. There might be other versions. But I didn't actually watch it, but I watched like a little trailer of it, and I was like, wow, that seems like it's going to be hard to watch. And then I didn't watch it. But yeah, I think that like does go into this where this guy is definitely pretty severely traumatized and like messed up. And I think that gets into part of the reason that Dodd is attracted to him and wants to work on him as this like project of him being just 100% emotion and being so like psychologically damaged. And yeah, he's a wild guy.
Yeah, and also part of why he is more susceptible to the cult nature of things, right? Looking for those things that a cult can give, right? Where he
Yeah,
might not be
and
able to get otherwhere.
yeah, he has like the PTSD, the alcoholism, the sexual like disordered sexuality, obsession with sex, which is also happens throughout the movie. Um, but yeah, he's always like traveling, he's always screwing things up. He's extremely self-destructive, like constantly screwing things up and running from one place to the other and, traveling, but he's probably trying to get away from himself, but you can't get away from yourself. So he's constantly traveling in that way. So yeah, I guess the cult the cause, which is influenced by Scientology, gives him a well, I mean, he's also easy to manipulate, which we'll get into later, what scenes like later on. But yeah, I guess he is. I guess he's attracted to it, but also I think he's just kind of sucked in, and like anyone could, it could have been a biker gang, it could have been anyone, and he would have just been like, "All right, you're gonna pay me. I'm just gonna hang out here, I guess." Like I don't know that the message of the cause, I don't know that that even attracts him to it. I think he would have joined anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, I gotta be honest, I don't fully understand what the message of the cause is. So the cause, I
Hmm.
understand, does this processing thing to try to understand our past lives and how that those traumas from those past lives are affecting us today. Um,
Yeah,
but
there. Oh, sorry.
yeah, that's all I really understand from them.
Yeah, there are these wacky elements to it of believing that we have these past lives for trillions of years, and that, um, and also, I think a huge part of it is controlling your emotion, and like Dodd talks about that a lot in the beginning of at least claiming to be like, oh, we're not animals. We shouldn't have like emotions basically. You shouldn't be run by your emotions. You should be rational and you should be controlled. And I think that's what draws him to Freddy, because Freddy is the exact opposite of that. And I think he wants to see like, can I
Right.
fix this guy? This guy that's 100% emotion. Can I like get that out of him and change him? But yeah, I think that's like a lot of what it's about. And I think a lot of what it's about also is just building up Dodd's ego and him saying whatever works. His son at one point, played by Jesse Plemons, in a
Yeah.
small but good role, he says like, "Oh, he's just making this shit up as he goes," And I think it really is just as much about him. He's at a party and he's the center of everything, and everyone they call him the master, and he's in charge, and he feels he we get into the master element of things too, which they talk about at the end of like Dodd saying, "Okay, if you could figure out how to be your own master, like let me know because you'll be the first one who's ever done it." And I think it's like he he really wants to be his own master and like the master of his world, the master of the world, I guess. Like he wants to be in charge. And I think Freddy, I don't think he actually intentionally is doing any of this, but I think he doesn't want to be controlled necessarily, or just he wants to do whatever he wants to do. Like he just acts like he's his own master, and it leads to all this self-destruction and stuff. So anyway, I feel like that's the the main things of the cause are like, yeah, there's healing past traumas from past lives, which you can kind of just make up as you go. And they do these uh what are they called?
Like
The
processing.
processing, yes, which
Yeah.
I think is what they call it in Scientology as well. And in Scientology, they'll do this with recording these sort of somewhat. That's not therapy, but it's, some version of talking about your deepest secrets and traumas, and then they will record it and then allegedly potentially use it as like blackmail. Not that that happens in this movie, but that is a thing with Scientology. But but yeah, and I think it's a lot about controlling, about intellect over emotions, and that we're
Hmm.
not animals and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think that definitely, gives a lot of hints also to why Freddy's character is can get trapped in this, right? Because I think that he really is unable to control all those things, obviously. So, like, I don't know, maybe like you said, maybe he doesn't actually care about the promise of being able to control them, but maybe somewhere along the way he actually does want to not be so impulsive and be so self-destructive.
Maybe. I don't think I think also like the first scene of what processing or whatever between them, which is an incredible scene, like incredible,
Yeah.
incredible acting. And Joaquin is incredible in this movie. But that scene just shows his complete lack of self-awareness. And like we've just spent like an hour of the movie of him being like completely erratic and insane. And then he's like, are you erratic? And he's like, no, no, everything I do makes sense. And it's like, yeah, to him, it probably does make sense, like in the moment. But from if he had the self-awareness, he'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe it is kind of erratic the way I live. But I think he completely lacks like self-awareness in a lot of ways. And maybe he like runs from it, like he runs from emotions and stuff like that and doesn't want to introspect or anything like that. But, but yeah. And also I think a lot of the stuff Dodd is saying also you can't really trust what he's saying. You can't really trust what either of them are saying because like Freddy kind of lacks self awareness and then Dodd is like very manipulative and kind of will say whatever to, boost his ego and seem like oh, I'm the intellect in the moment.
Right. Yeah. And one of the interesting things, I guess this is kind of a tangent, but just real quick, Dodd's character has these moments of total explosiveness, right? Where
Hmm.
he wants to be so put together, right? And he wants to come off so intellectual and so put together and fully in control of his own emotions. And now obviously that's what he he wants to show other people you can do, right? And there's, I think, two or three moments in the movie where he just totally snaps. One of them, uh, obviously, when the guy is questioning him all these things about, he even says like trillions with a T. But like, Earth has only been around for a few billion years or something. And he keeps questioning him. And then at one point, uh, Dodd says, Shane, you know the quote better than I do, actually.
If you know the answers, then why ask the question? Pig fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that total explosiveness, and it happens again when someone's questioning him about the book and how he changed a small word, instead of it being like if we imagine instead of if we
Recall.
recall. Thanks. Um, and he just yells at her and is like, "What do you want from me?" or something. And those moments show how human Dodd really is. I think compared to you, I think throughout most of the film, he seems like a pretty one-sided character in some ways. I mean, I think he's a pretty multi-dimensional character, but I think some of that's because of these moments where he just isn't able to control himself.
Yeah, yeah. He like always claims to be like above emotions and about rationality, but there's so many times he is so emotional, even at the parties of him singing and dancing and all this stuff. And I like toward the end the photographs they're taking for like the second book that he's gonna release, and like him putting on this facade of like the intel, and he has like the quill and the pen, and like so that stuff is kind of like funny to me of him like really putting on this facade of like, ooh, I'm the intellectual, and this will be on the back of the book. I'll look really smart. And but you see like the before and after. You don't when you just see the photo, you see the facade, but when you're watching the whole thing, you kind of see how fake and put on it is.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think, to both the writing of that character and also, of course, Philip Seymour Hoffman's credit, it just the character feels so legitimate, feels so real. It doesn't feel like a character in a movie, really, which is impressive. And in some ways it feels more empathetic, which is surprising considering he's such a, he's like the leader of a cult, but in some ways you're also like, this guy's just a human, he just he's a little lost too.
Mm. Yeah, I love also the scene when they go to jail when they're in Philadelphia
Yeah.
and they he gets arrested and then Freddy freaks out at the cops, starts attacking them. He has to get taken down by like four cops and they put them in jail cells and just this wide shot of the two of them in jail cells and Dodd is like just completely calm and Freddy like is freaking out and Joaquin is so like committed to this like he's slamming his back against the like bunk bed. He breaks the toilet. He's just kicking things and slamming into things, and he's like a wild animal, you know? And it's just the complete contrast of these two characters. And yeah, I mean, this is the Philip Seymour Hoffman episode, but also this like is kind of mainly Joaquin's movie, and he's like really great in this.
Yeah, it that scene is so impressive. Also, the physical representation of the two characters, right? I mean, Freddy has handcuffed behind his back, and his shirt is falling off, and it's trapped on his back now because of the handcuffs. And he's just, the way that Joaquin Phoenix can like twist his back, and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Dodd is just standing in a suit, right? Still looking very professional. And at one point, I think he's like peeing. I think Dodd just starts peeing in the toilet there, and and Freddy is just kicking and kicking. He's laying down, but he's just wailing his feet on the prison bars or whatever. And it's so the dichotomy is so impressive. And yeah, they really this whole movie is. I know Amy Adams is also really strong in this movie, but much of the movie really feels like a two-person show.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is a lot about these two characters and the why they're like that they are such opposites, but they're also like attracted to each other in that way, and that they uh I don't know, because it's almost like magnets. There's like a magnetic connection between the two opposites, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, and even at the end, I noticed like Joaquin obviously he does this thing with his hands on his hips, and then he does like his shoulders like way like I don't even know how to describe it. But he
Yeah,
does
it's
it a
like an
lot in the Joker.
right. Yeah, it's like this forward slouch type of thing.
Yeah, but it's like an insane slouch. And I noticed like Dodd at the end does a similar thing with his like hands
Oh.
on his hips the same way. He doesn't quite do the same like, you know, lurch forward, but he puts his hands on his hips almost the same way when they meet in London at the end. Um and so like yeah, I don't know. There is a
Mm.
connection between them despite them being opposites.
That's interesting. And yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely like classical literary foils, right? Where they're very opposite, but they have and just like how Dodd has these moments of explosiveness, and to some extent, I think Freddy has these moments of control, right? They're they really have kind of like 90% or even like 95% of each of them is like impulse or control, and then 5% is the other thing.
Yeah, yeah. Um Yeah, and I do want to say I have a shot that I really love in it when he maybe kills that guy. He reminds him of his father, and he gives him a bunch of the drink, and he maybe kills him. And he has to run out of this farm where he's working. And yeah, at the beginning we see him like ruin. He's working as a photographer, and he ruins that. He fights a guy for really no reason. It's like he goes on a date with a girl. He's drunk and passes out, which this is so well done because he they're kind of like gonna hook up and then they in the closet or something in the back. And uh they don't, but then they're gonna go on the date, and then there's one shot of him like passed out drunk at like a booth at a restaurant, and then the next day he's just like angry, and it just tells you the whole story of the how the date went, like, and him just getting completely plastered. Um, and then he just like fights a guy just because he's angry,
Yeah.
and the guy really does nothing, and he just starts a fight, and it's a great scene. And but then yeah, he starts working in the on this farm, and I love the shot of him like running away, and we like push out of a doorway and like into this field, and he's running across the field, and the people are chasing him, and just that shot, like, great. And not there's a bunch of great shots in the movie, but that one in particular I love.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely that was a really impressive shot. And actually, I was gonna one of the shots that I had, or sequences, I guess, that I had to bring up here was the fighting in the mall. Once he starts fighting that guy, the camera is this pretty far back camera, and as it's moving behind pillars and behind coat racks and all these things, and you get such a chaotic view, and it's moving. The camera moves very predictably to the left. It's not like following people, it's not going up close or anything. It's just moving to the left relatively slowly, passing through pillars, passing through all these things. So you get this really chaotic but still kind of controlled view of what's going on. And it's just a really, really impressive shot. And then as he's leaving, he grabs is that Doris that he works at the mall with?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think that's just a girl that whatever he started seeing that works at the mall. Doris, I
Yeah.
think, is just from his hometown from before the war.
Oh, right, because he read the
Yeah,
letter and yeah, yeah. Sorry.
that's all right.
But yeah, and he grabs her and they leave. But that whole time the camera is doing that same motion, and I was really that shot was really impressive. Might have been my favorite, just shot of the movie. The way that the camera was able to move and control such a chaotic scene.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, and yeah, he ends up meeting Dodd, and that also a great scene of him, Dodd, kind of trying to figure out Freddy, and I have read down. He says, "You've wandered from the proper path, haven't you?" And also like it is intellect versus like emotion, and also I think Dodd is like ego, and Freddy is self-hatred. And
Mm,
that I think is like also that kind of leads into why probably also he can be manipulated by Dodd and like in this cult. Um, but yeah, it's just the way that they're opposites. And also there's the at the beginning of the movie there's a Rorschach test, which is also like on the poster on the Blu-ray I have, and it is a funny scene, and it also is like thematically relevant as well. But it is
yeah.
funny the way he is completely everything looks like sex to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which is funny because in much of this movie is very I would say feels very serious. Maybe at times absurd, but very serious and very emotional and and grounded. But then there's moments like that are just pretty laugh out loud hilarious that help break up some of the tough, the stronger, not stronger, but like more emotional moments.
Yeah, definitely. I think the movie like it is pretty serious, but also I think especially at the beginning there are a lot of funny moments, and I think on rewatches I've been like, oh yeah, that's funny. But at first you're like, oh, this is a like period piece. It's like it's serious, it's a drama, but there is actually like a good amount of comedy, like the pig fuck that
Yeah.
scene is like it's actually pretty funny. And the way the guy's like, "Excuse me, excuse me," and he keeps trying to talk over him. He says "excuse me" like 20 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it is kind of funny, but also the tone is kind of weird because it is funny at times and then also pretty dark, and at other times.
Yeah. Yeah, very very dark at times, but also, so here's one other shot that I really liked, or sequence when um he is talking to um oh, I didn't write down what is Amy Adams' character's name.
Peggy Dodd.
Hey, thanks. so Freddie's talking to Peggy, and she's doing hypnosis or whatever, and she's like, "Are my eyes? What color are my eyes?" And he says, green or whatever, and she says, "Now change them to black or something." And then, "What color are my eyes?" And her pupils actually change colors to the camera's perspective too, and that was just one a good way to show how he is kind of susceptible to suggestion or whatever, hypnosis or whatever you want to say, and also uh a cool way to show or use a cool effect in the movie. That was, I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. That's sort of like in the segment in the middle when he's being most manipulated, I feel like, and when he's doing that thing of walking back and forth in the room and
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're almost like torturing him. Uh and he doesn't but he doesn't I don't know. I guess he feels like he can't leave, but maybe he doesn't want to leave. Like I guess he doesn't know like he doesn't really have anything outside of this. So he's like I don't think leaving doesn't feel like an option to him. Even though at the end he does, uh but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of why, part of me thought that he, deep down maybe he did want to, you know be more in control of himself, right? Maybe he's like, maybe this is actually how to do it, and obviously it's not, but he puts himself through all that crap for it.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Also, we haven't mentioned the Peggy and Lawrence Dodd hand job scene.
Yeah.
Funny, weird, strange part of the movie. Yeah,
She's in control, man. She's
right. Yeah,
in
yeah.
control. I think, yeah, between that and then, that's kind of uh that fact of her being controlled is sort of repeated throughout the movie, of course, but most prominently at the end when, as we quoted at the beginning, she says something like, when Freddie goes to England, I think, to visit them, and she says, this is uh
You do this for a billion years or none at all. It's
yeah,
not fashion.
right. And so,
And she's very anti-Freddy pretty much most of the movie, as well as pretty much the rest of his family. They're all kind of like, this guy is past helping. We're not going to fix this guy. Like, let's get him out of here before some crazy stuff goes down. Also, the daughter like kind of tries to come onto him, and he
yeah,
actually does control himself, maybe for the first time in the movie,
yeah.
right?
And
Yeah,
then she says that he came onto her.
yeah, right. He said like she's like he makes me uncomfortable and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting, the dynamic. I think on a rewatch I might have a better grasp of that, because I feel like um the first time through I'm like, this is like Freddy and slash Freddy versus slash Freddy X Kong, Freddy X Dodd. Um
the new Empire or whatever.
yeah. But this is pretty much like the two of them most of the time. But then the moments that Amy Adam comes in, it feels like she has so much control over the camera and the cult and everything. And so I'm curious on a rewatch if that would feel. I guess I would like know better to look for that or something, and would already have a better idea of how Freddie and Dodd kind of uh, connect and stuff or whatever. I don't know, not connect, but whatever. So maybe I'd be able to see more of that in a rewatch. But
Yeah, I see that. And I think also men being controlled by women sexually is like a recurring theme in a lot of in at least some of PTA's movies. Like in One Battle After Another, that happens. And then even in some ways, like in Inherent Vice, like he's very driven by this memory of this girl. Obviously, I don't. It's different, but I don't know. I don't have like a theory about it, but there's something there.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, definitely
Uh,
came up. Definitely
yeah,
came up here.
yeah. Another scene that I think I didn't never knew what to make of on the first couple times I saw this, but I think I actually did make sense to me this time is that when Dodd is like performing a song and dance at one of these meetings, and then all of a sudden all the women are naked. And I think the first time I saw it, I was like, what the heck? This is weird. It's like, okay, but this is like there's a sex element to the cult or something. And then this time I realized that this is really Freddy's imagining what's going on. Uh, just imagine this is how he's imagining all the women. He's imagining them being naked, but it's not actually happening. And and yeah, it's just kind of it's done very subtly and like you kind of it's just I mean it happens like at just in an edit. Things are normal. We cut to Freddy, and then we cut back to his perspective on things, and it's all the women are naked,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just another thing of his sort of sexual obsession.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene was weird.
Yeah,
But yeah, that yeah, I mean there's a good number of scenes that, you know, are just a little strange and also just sort of some plot points that I just so for example, Dodd just buries all of his unfinished writings or something and I what? I don't really
right,
understand that. That's more of a plot point, but I just don't get it.
right. Yeah, he's like hidden these writings, and then at one point toward the end, they go and get him,
Yeah.
and then nothing really comes of it. We
Well, they
don't,
published the
or
book, I think.
oh, the second book is like what it comes from what he's written,
I think
and
so.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I don't, I also don't know what to make of that. So it looks nice. The shot with the
It's a
sky
cool
in the
shot.
background and it's like in this like little almost cave in a mountainous region. Pretty cool.
Here's a shot. The motorcycle
Ah,
drive to that point thing. You know, pick a
yeah,
point, drive to it. And Dodd does it and comes back and everything. And then Freddy just goes off and they have to go get him.
yeah. He leaves. He never comes back. He's just gone, and then that's him leaving the cult.
I
Yeah, because then
oh.
he next thing we know, he's back in Lynn, Massachusetts. Shout out to Lynn, Massachusetts. And then he tries to visit Doris, whose name is now
Oh.
Doris Day, and she lives in Alabama.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
okay.
also don't think I put that together the first time I saw it. I was like, that was weird. And but just the way the movie is like edited sometimes, we just kind of transition from one scene to the next without much explanation. But yeah, that's him like leaving and then that's when he ends up coming back for that final meeting in London.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, that definitely makes sense. And yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was just so confused. I was like, what the hell is this just supposed to show that like he's just, uncontrollable. He's just gonna do the thing. And I guess that's also part of what it is. But like,
Hmm.
uh yeah, I guess I just didn't put that together with the next thing being that he's gone. So
Hmm.
interesting. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Uh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, great scene though. The and yeah, it is like I don't know, it's very interesting the way Dodd is like he's really enjoying it. You know, like
Yeah.
he acts like he's this intellectual, but really he is so emotionally driven with, and it's more about his ego, I think, than anything else, and about power and control and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and also like it's his game, right? He's like, here's the game. We're gonna do this, right? And so he's making the rules, he's setting it up and everything. So um in some ways, even if the ride, he's able to kind of let his let himself be loose, right? It's still his game, it's his rules, he's in control to some extent. So
Yeah. Also, when he's in Lynn and he hears that, oh, she's Doris Day, Freddie goes to the movies and he just gets a phone call at the movie theater and he talks on the phone in the movie theater. I mean,
but then he says, in my dream, you said you remembered how we met. So I was that real? Did he actually go to
no, no, that was like, oh, what do you mean? Oh, no, no, no. So, earlier he says like I'll tell you how we met and meaning in a past life. So then when he gets there he's like, "Oh, we were like they were like selling what was it? They were selling balloons or something. I don't remember what it was. They
Yeah,
were
they
yeah.
were
They were in like
sending
Paris.
messages. Yeah, it's sending messages through the news blockade or something.
Yeah,
And
in like the French Revolution or something like that.
yeah, and only two of their balloons got caught or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's the story that he tells about them meeting in a past life.
But yeah, I because I thought that Freddie said when he gets to London
Mm,
and he says something like, in my dream, you said you remembered how we met, right?
mm,
And I thought he said that on the phone in the movie theater. And I was like, that makes sense because
right,
the movie theater, you wouldn't really get a phone call. So and then I was like, was that a dream? But
right.
I don't know because that's also when he's told to go to London. So I guess I don't know.
No, I mean, I could see that. That could be, yeah, it
Uh,
definitely could have been like some sort of a dream, and he just maybe saw a thing that said, "Oh, they're in London," and he wanted to go.
yeah,
That would
maybe.
make sense. I didn't think of it that way, but that could make sense. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The movie is yeah,
yeah.
that is definitely one of those moments in the movie where I was like, what the hell's going on? I don't
Because
really.
I also was like, well, why would they want him to
Yeah,
come back to London just to fly across London just to talk to him and be like that? That's
get
it, just to talk to him. Like
yeah,
it kind of didn't really make sense, but I guess it would make sense if it was he sort of imagined that and then he sought them out.
right. Yeah,
Because
maybe that
because
is what happens.
because maybe he leaves. He's like, okay, let me go find Doris, and I'm gonna go marry Doris, and that'll be my life. And then that doesn't work out, and then so now he's like, all right, well, what are my other options? And then he decides to go back to try that, go back to that potentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess. And then in the end, they're kind of neither of them really change a whole lot.
No, no, but they have yeah, yeah. The characters don't really change a lot in the movie.
Yeah, which is interesting. I when that like when it ended, I was like, wait a second. I uh wait, the characters are the same, and
Yeah,
that was interesting. I didn't know how to feel about that at first. The more I've like sat with it, I think um there's something to be said about like cycles and you know maybe people like Freddie and or people like Dodd, right? Kind of live in these cycles of you know yeah,
yeah, and if they do change, it's very minimal. But I think maybe like at the beginning he talks about like when Freddy's there, I think it's their first conversation, and Freddy is like laughing kind of uncomfortably, and Dodd calls him like an animal, like, oh, you're an animal, like that to laugh is to be an animal. And then at the end, when he's releasing the second book, he's like basically says that the point of life is laughter.
right.
So in that way, I think he does like change. Maybe there's something to Freddie being this pure like emotion that he kind of is attractive to him. And so he does change in like some minor ways like that, but he's still in charge of the cause and he's still making up his stories for it to keep his power and his ego and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously some change, but yeah, I was surprised that there wasn't, um, and this is not a bad thing necessarily, right? Like I said, the more I've sat with it, but I was surprised immediately there was not as much change,
Yeah.
just, character arc, character growth, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's definitely an unconventional, just
yeah.
kind of the whole story and everything is very unconventional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's a story so set around these two characters and their specific uh traits of being impulsive and or being wanting to be in control and all these things, right? And so it's so much about these two things that I think it kind of made me at least expect that there'd be some amount of development in those areas, and then the ending comes around and kind of subverts that and is like, actually, you know that's just how these guys are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. And yeah, he's still at the end, the last shot, he's still laying with the sand woman from the very beginning of the movie. So
Yeah, whoa, yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Weird.
And then very last shot, before the very last shots of the movie, he's in England and he like hooks up with a random girl, and then he starts talking about the processing. Like he asks her
Yeah,
some of the
don't blink. Tell me, you
what's
know,
what's your name? And she has to like repeat it. And then he also says, I think like, you're the bravest girl I ever met. And Dodd at one point said to him, you're the bravest boy I've ever met earlier. Uh, so yeah, they've like impacted each other's lives, but
yeah.
there's, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't really know what to make of that scene, but
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting because you're right. And maybe there's a way to look at it where actually he has changed and now he's trying to use Dodd's methods to control someone or whatever. I don't know.
maybe, yeah. And maybe I don't know.
But it feels like he's just still very kind of sex driven, impulsive, not
Yeah,
really. So I don't know. But I don't know. There's so many scenes
yeah.
in this movie where it's like, yeah, I feel like you can make a lot out of you could interpret a lot of things here, maybe. But
Oh yeah, definitely a lot up to interpretation and yeah. But anyway, but the movie is very like, I don't know. It's just a pretty. I think it's an enigmatic, kind of weird, unique experience. Kind of hard to know what to make of it. It's very character driven, but I found it pretty like rewarding on rewatches, and I think it's pretty great.
yeah, I'm glad. I think I did enjoy it overall for my first watch quite a lot. I didn't know what to make of it all the time.
Hmm.
And I guess I'm left just I don't know if I was fully satisfied by the ending. Um, again, like feeling like nothing's really changed. Like I can see that there's obviously some artistic like reasoning for all that, but yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, I was left just a little wanting at the end.
Yeah, I get that. I think my ultimate like takeaway is kind of the way that these two guys like are trying to be their own masters of their own lives through like either intellect or through emotions, and ultimately it's pretty like a futile, pointless attempt to do that because
Mm,
it's not going to work out for either of them, and they both end up pretty unsatisfied and with their lives. So I think that's
yeah.
my main takeaway of it.
Yeah, I think, you know, I yeah, I can see a lot of, interpretations and I'm excited to rewatch it, not right away, but at some point. I think it's a movie that I think kind of felt like it needs rewatching.
Yeah,
But it was cool. It was very unique. I can confidently say I don't think I've seen a movie like it before. Uh,
yeah,
and so I'm glad that you picked it because it's also so highly acclaimed and everything. So I'm glad to have
yeah.
watched it, been a little confused and everything. But I mean, overall, like I said, I did quite like it. Um, it is interesting to me, a lot of people I follow on Letterboxd have given this like 5 stars, right? And I'm like, at the end, I was kind of like, uh, what? But I can see, I think I can see like rewatching this and feeling more rewarded from the whole experience, but
Hmm.
feeling a little dissatisfied at the ending, kind of, and just a little, confused and stuff at times too.
Yeah.
Did bring me down a
I
little bit, but
Yeah, I get that. And I feel like maybe the way you feel on this one, I feel on like Mirror a little bit, where I'm at the end, I'm kind of like, I don't quite know what to make of that. And like it was really well made, but it didn't like it's a lot of question marks. It's a little bit the
yeah,
Nick Young like gif where he's like, hmm, and then all the question marks pop up around him. That one.
yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good analogy, probably. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. Do we want to? Do you have much more to say
No,
about
I
the
don't think
master?
so. I don't think so. I think the movie is actually on my rewatches. I've realized how it is actually pretty funny and like maybe more rewatchable than I had thought after like a first viewing because it does seem like such a serious it's a serious period piece and it's like Oscar performances and stuff. But I think this actually is like pretty rewatchable. Maybe not to the degree of some of like PTA's other movies like Punch Drunk Love or Boogie Nights or even like Inherent Vice, which I really like. But uh yeah, I love it. I'm giving it 5 stars. I think it's pretty incredible. And just the performances, the cinematography, the look of it. And I think like you can kind of get new things out of it each time you watch it. So there was part of me that was like, I don't know. Is it like a 4.5? But I was like, nah, I'm gonna stick with 5 stars.
Hell yeah, nice. Yeah, I've already explained it a lot. I'm gonna slap a 4 on this one for now, but I mean I even right away I was like pretty um I think there's a lot of scenes that I was laughing during and pretty into in terms of their humor. So I can definitely see myself rewatching it, not necessarily right away, but at some point and just getting more out of it.
Yeah, nice, cool. Should we do rating recap and then go boating?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, the rating recap here. We've got this has a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, an 85% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 62% audience score on Rotten
Mm,
Tomatoes, and a 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. So uh yeah, I mean there is definitely a mixed reaction here,
yeah,
between audience being a bit lower than the critics and even IMDb being a bit lower than Letterboxd. But it brings it to a 7.45 out of 10 average if you
yeah.
smash all those together.
Makes sense. Also, I just realized the sexual control aspect, Phantom Thread. That's like the whole part of like the whole movie's about that. So I think you could probably someone can like write a thesis about it or something.
Yeah, somebody write a thesis about PTA's
Yeah.
sexual
Sexuality in the films of Paul Thomas Anderson.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I
Um
just I just put that because I was thinking about his
nice.
movies and I was thinking about how There Will Be Blood had such a giant nominated for Best Picture and like everyone loved it and it is an amazing movie. And then like this one, people were kind of like, "What the hell is this?" And in Inherent Vice, people were like, "What is this? This is weird. That doesn't even make any sense. What's happening?" And then and then I thought of Phantom Thread, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's completely fits in the theme of sort of that sexual control." And that, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty glad that we watched it. Glad that glad that I can now go into it again at some point because
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely feels like one of those movies, but yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, another PTA that you've seen. So that's good.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So yeah, your pick was Jack Goes Boating, and
Yes.
yeah, this
Yeah,
was
this
both our
is
first time seeing it.
yes. And we both watched it on Canopy, I assume.
Yes, I watched it on Canopy.
Yes, Canopy, free streaming service provided by your library. So go to your library. If you don't have a library card yet, you can sign up for one. You can even grab Heat 2 or House of Leaves potentially from your library that we brought up earlier
Yeah, you could
while you're in there.
maybe you can get a CD of Tenet if you have a CD player.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Actually, I if you have Hoopla or there's another one. I don't know if it's on
oh,
Hoopla or maybe there's some other one that through the library where you can stream music as well.
there is, and audiobooks. I don't remember
Yeah.
the name off the top of my head, but people can go and
Yeah, yeah.
that's your homework. Go to your
Pretty cool.
library if you're not signed up yet, and then all you have to do is you just punch in your library card number into Canopy's app, and you get access to all their stuff, and you can explore all their stuff, including Jack Goes Boating.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
very cool. This one is like based on a play, right?
it is, yeah, written. I think it's written by the play is also written by Robert Glaudini, who wrote the movie here. Um, and I think that Philip Seymour Hoffman is plays the same role in the play. So
Hmm.
um,
Gotcha.
movie here came out in 2010, but the play premiered in 2007, and it has I think it's pretty much the same cast other than one person, but
Yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Ryan, John Ortiz, and Daphne Rubin Vega. They're kind of the four
yeah,
main leads.
yeah, and so I think yeah, so I think it's the same cast in the play and the movie, but uh,
Okay.
I could be
Uh,
wrong on that.
Yeah, and I will say, like, from the play aspect of it, I think there are a few scenes that feel a little bit like it's a play, but for the most part, I think it does a really good job of actually like expanding, and it doesn't feel like stage bound at all. It feels very natural, all the exterior scenes and like the way you go from location to location, and even the filmmaking and the editing in like certain moments. It doesn't feel like just a play that they recorded. It feels like a film with, a real adaptation.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually surprised that it was based on a play because it I actually there's moments where I'm like, what did this look like on stage, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like when they're constantly we're going to the pool, we're going to all these different locations. Like, is there just like a pool off to the side or something, or what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so it was I think this was actually pretty impressive. I didn't really know what to expect going in. I picked this only because it is Philip Seymour Hoffman's sole directorial effort, and and I thought that was cool. And so I was like, why not dive into if we're doing a whole episode on on this legend, why not do something that he not only was in but directed? And overall, I'll say I'm very glad that we did.
yeah. I also really like the movie. I'm glad to have seen it and now know what it is. Philip Seymour Hoffman's great in it. I also really like John Ortiz in his performance. I thought he was great.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Honestly, the whole cast does really well here, and I think some of that is probably helped from the fact maybe that they've already done these roles um, in play, but also I mean they're just good actors. So
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And if they've done it when you're doing it on stage, you're doing it over and over again, and you could, yeah. So they got a lot of reps.
yeah, but and so Philip Seymour Hoffman in this plays maybe the exact opposite character as the master. Like I kind of mentioned there, in this he's this like shy, like limousine driver who is just trying to get through New York and goes on a blind date at the beginning of the movie, and it's trying to make things work with this with what's her name?
Connie.
Connie. Yes. And and in this though, he's not, you know, he is not this sort of controlling force at all, right? He's quite the opposite. So it's really interesting to see, although he does have a moment of an explosive
Right, when
you
that guy
know,
won't let him in to get a job application. That guy was a dick.
oh, there's that, but
Oh,
also,
oh,
well, I
at
guess
the
this,
end, toward the
yeah,
end. Yeah,
toward the
yeah.
end, yeah, of course, but yeah, there's that moment when he's trying to get the application, and and actually, this brings up kind of a bigger thread throughout the movie, which is there's this interesting thing where it doesn't give us a lot of information right away, and for example, he's going to get this application. And then later on, we're told what the application's for, or at least a little bit more about it. I don't know if we actually learn what it's for, but um, and even at the beginning, it's him, John Ortiz, and or him and Clyde and Connie sitting at the table, and Connie's kind of talking about a lot of heavy stuff during that date, but it doesn't actually tell us that that's the blind date. And it just like lets us sit there and try to understand what's going on and what this dynamic is before eventually Lucy gets home and eventually we learn that it's a date. But I think there's a lot of moments like that where we're just thrown into something and we fill in the blanks later, which I think can be a really rewarding method of playwright or screenwriting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and even the same with like Clyde and Lucy and their relationship and all the baggage and things. And we kind of, at the beginning of the movie, we definitely have a different opinions of them than by the end, I think. Just from learning, things that are revealed throughout the movie. Um, but yeah, they kind of, I guess Clyde works with Jack at the at as limousine drivers, and Connie works with Lucy at like a funeral home or something. They're like work in the
Um,
office of a
I think well, they work in an office with like some doctor, but they're pretty much just always on the phone trying to get credit card numbers from people. So I don't really know
right.
what they do.
Yeah, I think
I
there
was
was
pretty
something.
confused.
Maybe he was joking, but he was mentioned something about being at the working at a funeral home, and he was
Oh,
like, "Oh man, that seems dark." And he's like, "Oh, don't. Uh, I'm just messing with you. She only works in the office or something." So I
hmm,
assumed it was maybe something to do with a funeral
could
home
be
or a morgue or something like that.
doctor. They're expensive. Getting credit card numbers, you know? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really play, and it's just like
Yeah.
their job. Their jobs are kind of just normal jobs. And I do really love how the movie is really just about normal people and everyday people. Like these are kind of like almost I forget uh who said this or whatever. Maybe it was like Mike Lee or something like that. But that like when you're walking down the street and you pass by people, it's like those are like millions of different stories and everyone has all these different stories. And it's like, yeah, these are just regular everyday people like that we can relate to. I can relate to these people a lot more than Lawrence Dodd or
Yeah.
or Odysseus or something, you know. Even though actually they do a good job making Odysseus somehow relatable. You can, but anyway, you get my point. These are everyday people, and I like the sort of like how it makes these like small scale things like learning how to swim, learning how to cook. Like these are actually big things like in Jack's life and like or even just getting, you know, the first kiss with them. Like these small things are very important and I feel like that's pretty true to life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does feel so authentic, right? Because these feel like real people that you're going through these real triumphs and traumas with, right? And in a lot of the movie, right, we see Jack learning how to swim and feeling very accomplished and all this stuff. And we even there's this moment, oh my God, also cool editing, but there's this moment when he's on top of this overpass, going over a highway, and he might be walking back from the swimming class or something, but he's really feeling it. And he starts putting his arms up in this butterfly motion, butterfly pose motion. I don't know. I don't swim, but
He's like swimming,
yeah. And
he's visualizing swimming.
yes, and all the and that whole highway just turns into water, and he's suddenly at the pool, but he's still standing there. And the editing there is really impressive and cool, and it puts you in his mind, right? Of like this is what he's thinking about. He's committed to learning, and he's really there for it, and all this stuff. And uh and anyways, where I was going
Yeah.
with that.
I also really like the visualization, like the way that that was done with the editing and everything. I thought that was very well done and also sort of a purely cinematic like way of expressing something where
Yeah.
again, it's based on a play but it feels very cinematic.
Yeah. And it does this again with the cooking too, where there's this really impressive montage where um uh he's trying he's cooking and he's remembering uh the what's his name? Cannoli telling him
Oh
is it
yeah.
cannoli? Tell
Yeah, it's the nickname. Yeah.
he's remembering the chef telling him how to do things, and it's just this really impressive montage that doesn't feel cliche. It doesn't feel uh you know saturated or anything. It just feels very authentic and shows how far he's come in this skill that he's learning.
Yeah.
So that was cool too.
You know a thing I liked? I believe it's I believe it's Clyde or maybe it is Jack. I don't remember. But Clyde goes into like one of the fancy hotels that he's dropping someone off at, and he goes in the bathroom, and there's a bathroom attendant. And I'll tell you what, there's not a more useless job in the world than a bathroom attendant. You do nothing, and then now I have to tip you, and if I don't tip you, I'm the asshole, and you just stand here and you do nothing. You're completely useless, and I'm supposed to give you money. And I actually you kind of are socially and probably they're judging you. They're trying to make you feel bad so that you give them money for a job that's completely utterly useless. And there's almost something like I don't know. It's weird. It's like, hey, we're so fancy. We're just gonna have a guy stand in the bathroom awkwardly for no reason, and that's like a sign of us being fancy. So I like that this movie showed the awkwardness and the pointlessness of a bathroom attendant.
Yes, and it's a very every, Clyde is a very every person in that moment, right? Where he walks into the bathroom and actually the attendant kind of encroaches on him with a towel and he's like bringing him a little hand towel.
Yeah.
And Clyde tries to pull out some change to put in the thing, right? As you would
Oh
do.
yeah. Right.
And the guy says no coins.
No coins. Oh my good. The audacity. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness gracious.
And of course,
Ah,
that I think, and that's a moment where you feel like you're in his shoes, right? You feel that annoyance and that what is going on, right? Because he's not this rich guy that lives in this apartment building, right? He's just some guy that lives in New York
I
just
think,
making it through.
yeah, I think it's even a hotel.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a fancy hotel. But yeah, that jeez, bathroom attendant. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I feel like it's going away. I mean, at this point, everything's being automated. Like we don't need bathroom attendants, right? But
But
like,
I can see what you're saying. Also, this is a job for like the ultra, like this is like servants for the ultra rich. Like,
right,
it's
right.
like that's, I don't know if that's going away, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I just there's almost nothing I'd enjoy less than a bathroom attendant being there. I'm like, uh another thing I don't like, valets. I don't like them. I
Mm.
don't trust them. I'm like, okay, I'm just giving. I think I saw Ferris Bueller a little too young, and I said these valets are not that I drive a Porsche, but who knows what these valets are going to do with my car. But
Yeah.
not really. It's just I probably have control issues and don't want to give like not have my keys on me. Like what if something happens? I need to get my car. Now I have to talk to some valet or whatever. Who knows? Who knows where the car is? Who knows what's going on? But anyway, I don't really see the point.
Yeah, I do see what you're saying. I will say living in the city has changed me a little bit on valets. I used to be like, why the fuck would I ever do that? But but nowadays I'm like, uh, if I'm going to like try to park somewhere in Back Bay, I'm like, I'm not I'm not doing that. It's like, how much are you charging for valet? If it's less than $50, I'll probably I don't actually drive that much in the city, but this
But
is why, right?
there
Like I
are
don't want to.
parking garages though.
Yeah, that's true, but yeah, I don't know. And then though, you park in a parking garage, and I might as well have just taken the bus. I'm already walking however long to get to the place because I didn't valet there. But the point is also I don't really valet that much because I don't drive that much because all of it's kind of a scam.
Yeah, if you're in the city, you don't really want to be driving at all, to be honest.
Yeah,
They don't really get into that in the movie of I imagine being a driver in New York City would like you'd be susceptible to a lot of stress and you'd probably have to either you just become an angry person or you'd have to actually actively try not to do that. And that might be part of the reason, like he likes listening to the reggae. He like is trying to find a new job. I don't know. They don't like explicitly say it, but I imagine that's a factor of like, just, I can't imagine like, oh, my job is every day I have to drive in like Manhattan and maybe the other boroughs. Like that just seems terrible.
yeah, and you're driving a limo, so like
Oh yeah.
yeah,
So you,
like you're driving the people that stay at this hotel that you literally have to ask the valet guy if you can just pull over for a minute to use the bathroom. And he gives you like a remember in the movie, the guy he's like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna use the bathroom. The guy goes, all right, pull it to the side or quick or something.
make it quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like, yeah.
And it's like, dude, like you just get treated like garbage and you're escorting these rich people that are staying in places that have bathroom attendants. You're like, come on.
Bathroom attendant. Brutal. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to bring up I wanted to make my gripe with the idea of a bathroom attendant known.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, it's another thing. Non-Norman doors. We talked about that.
This is true. This has been my I will die on the hill of non-Norman doors.
Mm.
This is true. I think I literally showed the book on the podcast one
Yeah,
time.
yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yep.
little peeves that
Yeah.
sometimes it's fun to talk about. I guess.
Yeah. And
Um,
this movie kind of, well, it's about all the peeves. It's about all the peeves and all the positives too. It's just I
some big
really,
peeves.
yeah, some really that's yeah, I kind of not little, but it's really but it really is just the story of some people, and
Mm.
there's no hero story here. There's there's not I don't know. Like you're just watching some people go through stuff and something about that just feels so relatable and so authentic that it really pulled me in quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I liked the small scale and the personal. It felt very personal. And yeah.
Also, pretty cool soundtrack. Not always super
The-
obvious, but
yeah. The soundtrack was one of my less I mean, some of it was good, but some of it I hit a little bit like on the nose for me.
I can see that. I think yeah, I can see that. I just maybe I just didn't. It was very much like there's the flesh of my bones song or whatever during the montage when he's cooking and stuff,
Mm.
and probably a bit on the nose, but yeah, I was like, yeah,
That's fair. There was some kind of a Fleet Foxes song, maybe two of
yeah,
them, and I was kind of like, not really my thing. But it didn't ruin the movie or anything like that. But it was a little. I thought,
yeah.
eh,
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I get you. I really did like the soundtrack quite a bit, but
that's
yeah,
good.
I don't
I'm
know.
glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked
Yeah. Um the also there's the hookah scene.
it. Yeah,
Um
this is the end of the movie.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
they're I was just thinking of music though, and there's this
mm,
song going over while they're doing this hookah. And so only thing that you're hearing is just the song. And everyone's high or whatever, right? So that's part of why. But then it just cuts and you hear the blaring alarm. And that's not really soundtrack, I guess, but that's just another piece of the editing and just the quality of the filmmaking that like really strikes for me.
yeah, yeah, and everything was kind of like almost sound I don't know how to describe it. Like things sounded muffled and yeah, clearly they're kind of lost in the moment of that. But I was definitely thinking the whole time I'm like that food is gonna
Oh
burn.
yeah.
I was like no man. And then as soon as that like yeah, that scene is there's definitely I feel like that's a common play thing of like we're gonna get people together and then chaos is gonna ensue. But yeah,
Yeah.
he and I will say his character in this kind of reminded me of Barry from Punch Drunk Love in this sort of like super shy and also I mean it's just he kind of has a better control of his emotions than Barry does, but they're both very shy, both like maybe autistic, like probably maybe on that spectrum or something like that. Um but yeah, just kind of a shy person who also can have these emotional outbursts. And this is really his main big emotional outburst. Uh
Yeah.
but yeah.
And you know, I don't know if I should have jumped right to the ending, but while we're here, and we can go back and fill in
Yeah.
stuff, but the ending, obviously, this is the big climax. It's one of the better parts of the movie, and I thought that the way that Clyde he actually has a pretty good speech through the door when after everything goes wrong and Jack just breaks all the stuff in the kitchen and everything and eventually locks himself in the bathroom.
Yeah.
um
I love when Clyde smashes the fire alarm to get it to stop, and he's hitting it with like a baseball bat, and yeah, very funny.
yeah, yeah. And then he has like I think he has a pretty good speech through the door, and then he plays Jack's favorite song, and he forces Connie and Lucy to both sing with him, and everyone gets Jack back into it, and it just felt like such a human like best friend. Like that's when you really I feel like that's when I really put together just how good these two people are for each other. Like friend, like this is such a great relationship for these two people.
For Jack and Connie.
I meant Jack and Clyde, just like a platonic, like
Ah, yeah.
friend. Like
Eh,
throughout the whole movie, you see them like they're clearly been friends for a long time. But I feel like that was really the moment where it's like, yeah, these guys are like they are there for each other. And
Yeah, I think I felt that at the beginning. Like I was like, oh man, these guys are like Clyde's a really good friend, and he really is throughout the movie, and that's another just him like teaching him how to swim, letting him use his
true,
house to like he's really generous and a good friend. Um, and yeah, but at the end, it is kind of. I mean, Clyde is also. This is like a very self-destructive moment where he goes out, he gets cocaine, he invites the cannoli over, so he really like self-destructs like everything in this moment. Um, and then at the very end, it's like him and Connie are like together now and they go boating and stuff. And then it's like the last shot I think is Jack and Connie like holding hands and they're walking away from Clyde. And
yeah,
The last shot is Clyde and he's kind of looking at them like I don't know what the emotion is on his face. Sort of sad, sort of like maybe being left behind or something. Um Maybe that's a negative way to look at it. Um but yeah, like It is sort
Yeah.
of like he helps him, and then it's almost like he's out of the nest or something. But Clyde
Mm.
kind of maybe gets left behind.
I do see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe that's a pretty normal feeling, right? Like you're best friends with someone, right? And then they have a partner, and now it's like, well, suddenly you're not you're not always
Mm.
able to hang out, and you're not but
Right.
yeah, I mean, I do see what you're saying, definitely. Um,
Yeah. And like in a way, they were like obviously Jack is like super shy and like needs a maybe seems like he needs more help, but in a way, like Clyde also really needed
yeah.
Jack and needed that like relationship as well, probably just as
Mhm.
much.
That's true. Yeah, and that's an interesting point because Connie pulls Jack away when Clyde kind of needs him. When the cannoli stuff is all happening, you know.
Right. And they're like, let's get out of here. We're not going to be like them because they
Yeah.
are like very toxic or, not ideal couple relationship.
Yeah.
Because we haven't talked about all the cheating and the all this stuff.
Yeah. I will say just that I did feel like the Clyde looking at them with that like kind of somber face,
Mm,
I thought was kind of more reflective on like, you know, they now have this relationship and he doesn't anymore, right?
mm,
And not necessarily I wasn't really thinking of his relationship with Jack, but more of his relationship with Lucy now being gone.
right.
But yeah, I mean I could
Yeah, I
definitely
see
see that
that.
too.
I'd like to think that Jack and Clyde are
They are
still
such good
friends.
homies.
I
Yeah.
know. But then Jack is now at a different job at the end.
Oh, that's true.
You
Well,
know,
yeah. I mean, I hope all works out for Jack and Clyde.
I know. I hope it works. I feel like Jack is kind of like I feel like the ending is very optimistic for Jack, but I don't think it's as optimistic for Clyde, maybe. Like,
Or maybe it is right now. He's out of this bad relationship,
hmm,
right?
yeah, that's
Because
true.
this relationship was pretty bad for him.
Yeah, yeah. And it is very like we get it from his perspective, and then she's like, I don't know if she's just trying to justify it, but she's like, oh, he did something too, and but there's a lot of deception and stuff in it. And I do like that. I mean, Clyde is obviously not perfect or anything, but I think he's still I think all the characters are relatable, like to different degrees, even though they're flawed in different ways and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what makes them feel even more relatable, right? I mean,
Yeah.
definitely. I will say there is a moment between Clyde and Lucy that
Mm.
actually brought this movie down quite a bit for me. Which is uh so obviously, and we haven't really talked
We,
about Connie gets assaulted um on public
yeah.
transport. And
She's like, yeah, it's kind of unclear exactly because we just cut like there's someone a creepy guy next to her staring at her and then she tries to go away and then we just cut she tries to cross the train and he's still being staring at her or whatever and we cut and then we see she has like a blood all over her face at work and she's just trying to work and be normal but she got clearly like attacked and all her face is all bloody um and yeah and then she goes to the hospital and that's when Jack brings her the koala bear and stuff which is sweet and everything. Yeah.
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 And then later on,
Mm,
not to brush over that because that is a really important part of the movie, but
yeah.
what I wanted to bring up was that later on, Connie's boss, like, uh, you know, comes on to her,
Har-
or like,
Harasses her.
yeah,
She does something. She like closes a deal on the phone and he like kind of puts his hand on her shoulder but kind of onto her boob and
breasts,
clearly
yeah,
it's a creepy boss not sexual harassment slash assault at work.
yeah, it's like terrible, and but then,
It seems like it's like the first. It's like he's trying to see what he can get away with, sort of a thing. Maybe like he's trying to start it, but she's like, yeah, and then she tells Lucy about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then Lucy and Clyde, they're at their apartment, and I guess it's actually mostly Clyde doing this. He kind of uh tries to come on to Lucy talking about him being the doctor and trying to recreate what happened or something. And it was pretty gross. I was very not happy with that scene. And it didn't feel like those characters either. And
Mm.
I don't know. I left that scene feeling both uncomfortable and like it didn't really add anything to the movie, and just liking both of them a lot less. And
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was I I see what you're saying for sure. It definitely did not reflect well on Clyde, him sort of like not taking it seriously, and he's kind of like, well, do you think it actually happened? Like, uh, and it was definitely weird, but there's a lot of like at the beginning, I wasn't sure if Lucy was sleeping with the boss because he like at one point like hugs her in kind of a weird way, and I was like, in movie brain, I'm like, okay, well, she's gonna be sleeping with that guy because or whatever, or maybe he's been harassing her or whatever. And then when he starts doing that, it's like it is kind of because clearly it seems like Lucy is not into it. And that's how it came off to me, and she's sort of just like staring off in the distance as he's. And I don't know if that's her being not attracted to Clyde anymore, or she's like, or she's been harassed by him as well, and that's why she's feeling weird about it, or
Mm,
she is sleeping with him, maybe like consensually, even though that's in the workplace and he's her
yeah.
boss, but maybe they are having an affair, and that's an element of it. I mean, it's never really clarified, or like it doesn't really. It is weird the way that it just kind of just nothing comes of it. Like we don't get any closure on that element at all. But yeah, it was a weird scene and definitely like I felt like there was a lot going on and then it never came to anything. So it did feel pretty like, is there a point to this or what exactly? Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, I do see what you're saying, that there might be more to read in there about what Lucy's response actually might mean, right? But yeah, I mean, I think overall it just, we never get back to it. It just felt really gross in the moment. Like it needed to be impactful, more impactful for me if it's in there, because the way it is, it just felt unnecessary. And that type of thing I don't think should ever be unnecessary in a movie.
mm, I get that. I think also it was like for me showing like because at the beginning, I think Clyde just seems awesome. And then as the movie goes on, we kind of learn more and more about his flaws. And I think that was also maybe part of the point of the scene of him being like kind of kind of weird and uh uncomfortable in that scene. And like we're not all right, this guy's not just all roses and peaches and cream, or I don't know he's not all good, you know. So yeah, I didn't like it didn't it was weird for sure, but I don't know that it like
Yeah.
ruined the movie for me. But yeah,
Yeah. I definitely don't think yeah. I
because
don't
I
think
don't
it like fully ruined it for me, but it did definitely turn me off of the movie for a little bit.
mm,
And it took a little bit to come back from that for me. But
yeah, that's fair. Totally that makes sense. I think for me like it didn't seem like the movie was like endorsing the actions, you know, to me. Like it didn't seem like it was like, oh, this is sexy. It felt like the movie was like, oh, this is weird. Um
true.
so that's why maybe part of the reason I wasn't like it didn't super bother me. But that's totally fair that I'm not trying to discount. I'm just saying
Yeah, yeah.
that was my experience with that scene. But
Yeah.
it did feel pretty unnecessary, I will say.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think that's really like one of my only issues with the whole movie. I think the movie really feels so authentic throughout. And I don't know. I was really there for it pretty much the whole time, other than, pretty much that one scene, I would say.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think my thing was some of the songs were a little like corny for me. But aside from that, I did really like the movie. Great performances and yeah, very like sweet, touching you know, human relationships. And yeah, I'm glad we watched it.
Me too. I also just really like that this is at first, actually, I was a little confused at why we were following two couples. But by the end, I mean, way before the end, but certainly by the end, I really liked that we actually had this exploration of these four very different people and these these, I mean, I guess really like four or something very different relationships, right? You have Jack and Connie, Jack and Clyde. You have Lucy and Connie because they're coworkers, and there's some weird dynamics there. Also, Lucy and Clyde. So you get all these different dynamics all bundled up in one. And so while at first I don't know if I really was fully in for all that different stuff going on, I certainly appreciated it later on.
Mm. Yeah, gotcha. I will say there were two other sex related scenes that were kind of weird as well. Of the first one when like Connie's not ready to have sex, and then it's kind of weird. That whole scene, I was like, this is a little weird. That one weirded me out because I think because it was so extended.
Yeah, it was
And
long.
yeah, I was like, I don't know about this. But it was just a little bit weird to me. And then at the end, like the way I don't like clearly it's consensual, everything that's going on, but clearly she has like this trauma, I guess, and it's she's into it, obviously, but it's just kind of weird. And I don't know if I have a better way to describe some of it, but but yeah, it's kind of there's some weird sexuality in like I guess the whole movie. I guess both these
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, true.
Jeez, Jacko's masturbating, weird sexuality. Jeez, what an episode. This is phew.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like for the for those two bits, I did interpret it kind of more as just like her develop like I guess like getting through this stuff and like still
Mm,
having that trauma there, but like working through it and stuff. But
yeah, and
certainly one of those scenes was really long.
yeah, yeah. I mean, in a way, it is like we're seeing the way that Jack is actually very like gentle and like understanding and not really pushy at all. I think that is also probably like a good reason that they're actually like good for each other as well, and that they can like she. I guess that's also things that sadly a lot of women have to deal with and like is a part of life, and it's part of like what they're exploring in the movie, and it's a part of their relationship. So maybe I just felt weird, but it's very intimate stuff going on in the movie. But yeah, it wasn't really a negative to me. It was just I didn't really know what to make of it. But I guess as we talk about it, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I mean, it makes sense that that's just like a part of them connecting on a interpersonal level in just that way, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, it is interesting because, a lot of movies, right? It's like, well, they meet and there's like a crazy hot sex scene or something,
Hmm.
and it's like, wow, they're in love, and it's
Right.
like,
Or it's just
and
implied like, oh, they had sex and I guess
yeah,
it was good and then we just move on. Yeah.
right. And it's like, actually, that whole building that with someone, especially when you have history of horrible things happening, right, can be a really complex process. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, true. And I like that it is the small interpersonal drama and it is very adult. And this did kind of feel like almost in the 2000s, 90s and 2000s, there were a lot of these like indie like dramas, like adult dramas. And this is kind of like at the tail end of that thing. And I feel like we don't get that many movies like this anymore. Actually, The Invite might be something like this. Obviously, it's a little bit more maybe straight like bigger comedy, but just of like interpersonal adult drama without any kind of big genre, you know, stuff to, you
yeah,
know, whatever. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean, and yeah, I think you're right on, right? I think there's a few here and there, but certainly not as many as there are from that era, um, which is
Yeah.
interesting. Also, thinking of this on like the tail end, it's interesting. The play was probably a little bit even more right in that midst of time, right? The 2007,
Hmm.
still a little bit closer to when that's all a little more common, but
Yeah. But yeah, uh, cool. I'm glad we watched the movie. It was good. Very. very underseen. It only has 7.6 thousand logs on Letterboxd. So pretty, it has under 1,000 reviews on Letterboxd. So, like very underseen. Like I said, I didn't even know this existed. So I'm glad we watched it. Hopefully, maybe some other people have heard of it and also watched it and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, and maybe even, if you guys again, well, I guess we're a little late at this point. I was gonna say
Yeah.
if you guys are just joining for the master, but there's all your spoilers, but
Yeah, we spoiled both movies completely.
no, yeah, I mean, this is, part of why I like to pick movies that I haven't seen for the podcast, um, is just to like watch things that I maybe would never have watched otherwise, right? I mean, I don't know if I ever would have even just come across this naturally or anything, but I'm certainly glad that I did watch it for this episode because it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And always cool to see kind of a legendary actor kind of take into this directorial role, and it seems like he did pretty well here. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. He did a very good job as a director. And obviously everyone giving great performances and yeah, I'm glad we watched it. And I don't know if I have that much more to say. So should we do our ratings?
let's do it.
I gave it 3.5 out of 5. It was a
Nice.
strong 3.5. Maybe if the songs were slightly less corny, it would have gone up to a 4, but that's okay. It was still a very good movie. Very enjoyable. 3.5.
Nice. That's funny. I also gave it a 3.5 out of 5. For me,
Nice.
maybe if that one scene wasn't in it or whatever, I don't know. Um, just barely enough stuff to get it lower than a 4. And I was still kind of close to giving it a 4, but
Yeah. Nice. Cool.
and
Yeah, two good picks.
and again, it's a little underseen, but it's rating recap here. It's got a 3.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 67% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, 48% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes,
Wow.
and a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, bring it to a 6.1 out of 5. Nope, 6.1 out of 10 average. Um, which is I don't know. I'm a little surprised. I feel like it could have been a little bit higher, but again, it's
Hmm.
pretty underseen, so it's not a huge sample size for any of those.
Yeah, interesting. That is pretty low. Will say like 2010, I feel like there were actually kind of a lot of these like independent sort of like Sundance type of movies. So maybe it was just at a time where there was a little bit of oversaturation of these movies. Whereas watching it now, you can kind of look back and maybe we appreciate it a little bit more. Maybe
Right.
that's a factor to why people didn't like it as much. But also, it's not the funniest movie. It's mostly a pretty straightforward drama. I wonder if I don't really know anything about how it was marketed, but it could have been marketed as more of a lighter comedy, and it kind of isn't that light of a comedy. I mean, there are funny moments, but it's more drama than comedy. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
don't know. But I'm
Well, I
kind of
think,
surprised that it was that mixed of a response. I would have expected a little bit more positive.
yeah, same. But you know what? I just hope that more people watch it. So
Yeah.
if you guys enjoyed it, this could be a good one to recommend to people. You don't always have to recommend the 5 stars, right? You could recommend a nice, solid, good movie that's not quite as seen. So
Yeah. And I will say it's only like 91 minutes.
yeah,
It's
it's
right
short.
on your timeline.
Yeah, it's short. It's on Canopy, so it's free. Your friends don't even need to pay for this movie. You can just tell them to go to their library.
Yeah, there you go. And tell them it's a Ryan Kirby special. It's under 100 minutes.
There you go. Yeah, and then share the podcast with them.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. All right. All right. I guess that's that. Is it time for us to pick our topic for next full episode?
Oh, it is.
Cool. Well, if anyone's still listening, thank you. We appreciate it. Next week we've got a review for Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going from these weird and small movies. I mean, The Master's not small, it's bigger, but it's kind of weird and unique. It's tiny little movie, Jack Goes Boating, and now we're going to the big summer blockbuster, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Ryan is a big Spider-Man fanatic, uh, and we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it and
Yeah.
review it. We'll have it out as soon as possible. It's gonna be kind of like the Odyssey one, where we might be a little, a couple days late from our normal Thursday release, but that's okay. It'll still be pretty quickly after the movie is released. That way, people at least have a chance to watch it.
Yeah. When the movie comes out on Thursday, It's a little tough
Yeah.
to watch it, record, release. So
But
we are excited to
soon
see it.
thereafter,
Yeah.
whether it be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. Probably not Friday, but whatever. Regardless, the episode will be out next week. And then after that, we have a fun, uh, we're going to pick a topic. And I'm picking now. If anyone's on YouTube, my eyes are closed. I have the category cup right here. I have a topic. Wow. The topic is something that I had already burst into just a few weeks prior for the first time ever on this show. Short films.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So this is in here. I don't quite know how we do it. I guess we just each pick one short film and we just have a short
Yeah,
episode.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
cool. So yeah, the episode next full episode will be short films. I mean, there's a lot of good options here. Uh, and yeah, we'll each pick one and I guess we'll announce it at the end of our or probably in the middle of our Spider-Man episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. You know, the only one that we've covered on this show so far, of course, was La Jetée from Shane for our what episode was that? That
For the Sight and
was
Sound greatest films list.
right. So there are some, of course, very highly acclaimed short films. And technically a short film is just anything under, is it 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think that would probably make sense. That's like that would be the Oscar thing is like under 40 minutes.
Cool. So lots, I mean, tons of options. Uh really, really cool stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm
Tec-
excited.
Technically, Sherlock Jr. was like 45 minutes, so it does not count, but it's just a really, really short feature. But
Close.
uh but yeah, I mean got a lot to choose from, so I guess we'll do some research and we'll announce next week. Um
Sounds great.
all right, cool. And also should we announce our next the other half episode now or not? Or just wait.
Sure, let's do it, you know?
All right. Well, in case anyone doesn't know, Brian's getting married soon. So we're doing after that short film episode, we've got a wedding themed episode. And what movie are we watching?
We are going to watch The Princess Bride. So you've got plenty of time to watch this one with us. We're going to be recording this a little bit early because I'll be on my honeymoon, so we're going to schedule this one and everything. So,
Yeah.
but I'm excited. But we've both seen this, but only a while ago,
Oh, many years ago.
many years ago. It's been a long time, so I'm excited to rewatch it. I figured, you know what, it's got to be probably the best rated, overall acclaimed movie that has anything to do with weddings because I spent a lot of time
Ooh.
thinking about a wedding movie. Turns out there's not all that many great options. So
A lot of rom-coms.
yeah. Yeah, which can be enjoyable and all that. But I figured this would be a good one to go with. So we're gonna be watching The Princess Bride. That's gonna be a few weeks, but watch it whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's our next few episodes. Thank you for listening. We very much appreciate it. If anyone wants to, give us a like on YouTube, give us a comment. We're on YouTube. We're also on the podcast apps, Spotify and Apple and all those. And you can give us 5 stars there. We would very much appreciate it. And yeah, we're on Letterboxd. Mind Your Movies, all one word. In the bio, you can find both of our individual accounts as well. And yeah, thank you all for listening. We very much appreciate it. And don't forget to mind your movies.